I was classified disabled by the age of 17 and told by doctors that I most likely would never work. I spent from C-section, emergency baby in an incubator my whole life with like autoimmune disorder, fibromyalgia. They just kept diagnosing me with labels that really didn't make sense because they didn't know what to do. In my experience, 80% of all illness and disorder, if not 90, is from suppressed emotions. So of being born into a home that was dealing with a lot of suppressed emotion, I think, is probably the biggest result of all the sickness. But it got me to a place of where I just felt like I was in jail in my body, whatever age that is. The first thing I would say to you is it does not matter my background will tell you, I can't say all of it right now because littles, but it doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing, what your age, what money's in your bank, what education you have, anything is possible. Like anything is possible if you can get the cells of your body to believe it, you can achieve it. And if you go and you conspire with this energetic force that exists between all of us and you say, hey, I would love your will to be done here, this or better. And then you allow your intuition, which is your GPS signal, and aligned action to follow. It's like you're unstoppable.
Austin Community Capital. This show is a celebration of the spirit of Austin, Texas, honoring our past, engaging our present, and building our future together.
Sara, I'm really excited to be having a conversation with you today. I know you as an impassioned visionary who cares a lot about the spaces that we occupy. I'm excited to share that story with folks today. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
Let me start by just diving right in. Tell us about your vision for your life and your calling.
Well, I always joke, my vision a couple years ago, I remember writing 7 Airbnbs, and I thought this would be like the really cool thing. And the next thing you know, I was building a mini city. My calling has always been to bring community together. And I was homeless as a child, and it just became like this obsession to bring people into homes and like had just all these things around home. And a few years ago, I got some visions and met a partner and started building Sanctuary, which is an eco-luxury, self-sustaining, I call mini city in Dripping Springs, and now have launched another company to build more of these.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I love that your vision for your life started out of what was originally lack, like, not having a home, not having a place originally, and then deciding, hey, I want to help people with this. I want to give this to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the passion behind. I think what's really important when you're seeing people get into certain industries or careers, what is the why? And I'm on the board of 9 orphanages. I have 2 kids, as you can see, one that's here, and I don't see the difference between where my kids begin and those kids end. And as somebody who's been working with the homeless for 25 years and working with the orphans for 25 years and have experienced that as a child, my heart's in it. And my heart's in real estate, not for profit first, which I've noticed being a woman sitting at the table very often where it's just more of the masculine. A lot of the conversations are on profit first. And what I say, God second. So just doing the right thing. And what I've noticed is that when you pivot the position of the company towards, what I would say God first or right thing first or the law of love first, then actually profit increases. You get great reviews, you get your word of mouth goes through. So in the long-term, short-term gain, I think if your heart's in it the way that my heart is in it, you see so much more that's possible from the company.
So that's an unsuspecting phenomenon that you're describing, like that kind of flipping of things. Why does it work like that?
I don't know if it's like the good karma aspect, but I think everything's on a certain timeline, like the horse or the rabbit and the turtle, right? And over a long period of time, we just see that the most successful companies are the ones that tend to do the right thing or have made their customer satisfaction really high. So the conversations that I'm having with our builders or when we choose is this home going to heal the body? Otherwise, you're going to get sick. I don't know how many new homes we have built here in Austin that are having mold problems, right?
The mold capital. It's horrible.
It's the mold capital. And so now all these big developers are getting really bad reviews. So they made a ton of money in the beginning, and now they're getting tanked. And so when you build in a way that's structured to last with high quality, we become the Bugattis of the market, right? So it's kind of my philosophy on it.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit more on the physical construction side of the homes you're building in Sanctuary, and then also the spirit that you want in these homes. Are they equally important?
Yeah. Okay. So how we're building in the spirit, I think it's, just for full disclosure, which I haven't said this publicly very often. I was born on All Saints Day in St. Joseph, Missouri, in a saint hospital, given 2 saint names that mean of God and devoted to God. And my birth number, so day and year, is 1111. And in scripture, there is a story of Sara, Hebrews 1111, and they call her Saint Sara. And Saint Sarah's gift was, part of it was hospitality, home, mothering. And so my whole life, like it or not, I've had visions and a really strong intuition and can just hear what I would call God. And for 6 months, 3.5 years ago, I thought I was losing my mind because in every meditation, every dream, I kept hearing ark, ark, ark. And I remember calling my girlfriends out. I'm like, I think we got to get a boat. Like, I was Googling, can it flood in Austin? What is this? And I was at an event. And previous to this, I got lucky off real estate. I could hear, I knew when to buy a house and when to sell. My first house made me $300,000 profit, did nothing to it in 2 years' time, doubled my mortgage for the 2 years. And then my second house made me $1 million profit in 2 years' time. I did nothing to it.
Man.
Yes. And so I sat on this cash, just bought a little house for the kids and I praying, like, what do I do? And that's when I thought 7 Airbnbs would be the big thing. So I get to this event and there's this guy there and I have this strange sensation in my body I've never felt before or after. I walk up to him and I say, what brings you to Austin? And he looks at me and he has this perplexed look on his face. And you could tell that he's contemplating, do I tell her the truth?
Yeah.
And he says, God told me to come build an ark. This is the truth of Sanctuary.
Wow.
And in that moment, I'm crying because I'm like, oh my God, everybody's going to die. That's what I'm thinking. And he pulls out of his back pocket his phone and shows me this development he was building in Canada. So that was the start of Sanctuary. That's how I became the seed investor, the other main founder, the woman behind the seat. When I don't really have a real estate background, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know the ins and outs of the bolts or architecture. I don't. I just have a really strong intuition that God has led me to homes. And we started right in that moment. We started fundraising and building with the main soul. So your question is, as a sovereign single mom for 5 years, my business partner would see me, he's like, gosh, you're just always doing dishes or you're cooking or whatever. Like the dream is to give parents, to give families, to give entrepreneurs a place, a community that's actually thriving like Belterra, other places. I don't want to bad talk anybody want it to be, but there's no soul in it, right? Like how do you bring the soul? How do you bring in more collaboration, that real community feel? Well, that's what we're bringing. We're bringing in apps that create the connection, events that create the connection, the mompreneurs that really know what the houses need. I mean, often you're building without that kind of knowledge and wisdom. And I could go deeper on that, but I want to answer your other part. So every material that we're using is the highest that you could get for no mold. And we're building truly in a way that actually heals the body. We know that the paints that are piping, all these things are lighting, chemical compounds affecting our energy, our memory. And we've consulted with many different experts to do the best that we can to try to build houses in the best way possible for us to maintain our health. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that holistic approach.
Yeah.
I think, often overlooked just in a Western mentality. Like we have a tendency to take a very short-term view, focus on maximizing ROI, which means oftentimes cheap materials, kind of like health is an afterthought, and then we wait and see what happens. So I appreciate the thoughtful forethought and planning in that. Let me ask a question just about your personal experience with this venture, because it sounds like a crazy risk. I mean, you dove in, you mentioned like you were not a real estate expert at the time, that you'd had some favor in deals. Like, what were you feeling? How did you make that jump? Like, what was that like emotionally?
I'm so glad you asked. No one's ever asked that in all of the interviews.
Huh.
And lately I've been like, I wish history would tell us more about how the person felt, why they were doing what they were doing. Because I'm scared shitless.
Thank you for saying that.
I am up at night. I couldn't tell you for how long. And again, I just bought 5 buildings to open up wellness clubs for families. And then I just launched another development company, and I'm on the edge of my seat sometimes with a paper bag, like, is this going to make it? Is my whole life going to tank? And I think it's just, for me, when I do an interview, I want to give raw, I want to give real. I watch these interviews a lot, and I'm like, can you give me more tactics and steps and like the truth behind the scenes? My ex and I don't get along. And so in my mind, if I tank, I don't have anything to fall back on for my kids. Like, if I don't have money, I'm 3 times more important to pull in an income. And if that doesn't work, I'm likely to not have offspring, like children. So on every decision that I make it knowing that this is what God has asked me to do. And I had never thought building a mini city, and we're building these all over the world. And I have a whole other company building these. And, just a couple months ago, I'm sitting beside Richard Branson or inside the Parliament in London talking with people building cities in space. And I'm just a young, small town girl that could hear this intuitive thing that really doesn't really know what she's doing, but somehow it's worked out. So I'm scared. I'm terrified. I still feel often like a fraud in the room, but we've raised $70 million for this project. 15 houses are almost complete. My track record so far with real estate has been pretty pristine. Not that there's not a lot of bruises and boo-boos, or that this couldn't be perfected, because it can. And I'm not the main developer of Sanctuary. My partner is. He's the one doing all like the logistics. I come on and do the intuitive consulting and the connections and the community aspect. And I happen to have a good track record with that. So terrified. But I know it's the right path, and I just keep checking in on that. Like, am I still moving in the right path? Is today the right path?
You're in Aspen, or maybe Italy, and your phone pings with a freeze warning back in Austin. Panic? Nope. You have Loyal. We're already there, wrapping the pipes and checking the perimeter. Whether you're home or away, we are the eyes and ears of your estate. Global freedom, local support.
Well, I think every entrepreneur listening to this podcast will have a massive sigh of relief when they hear you say that you're scared, because they've all been. I am constantly. So I appreciate that transparency. Yeah. I'm curious, let's take hypothetically a young person maybe coming out of college or college age, like 21, and they're passionate, they're fired up, but they're a little bit unaware of 2 things that you have a lot of experience in. 1, finding their why, and then 2, maybe tapping into God, a higher power, a source of wisdom and counsel that they don't have. Like, how would you advise them or encourage them on those 2 things?
God, these are great questions. I was classified disabled by the age of 17 and told by doctors that I most likely would never work.
Why? What was going on?
I spent from C-section, emergency baby in an incubator my whole life with like autoimmune disorder, fibromyalgia. They just kept diagnosing me with labels that really didn't make sense because they didn't know what to do. In my experience, 80% of all illness and disorder, if not 90, is from suppressed emotions. So being born into a home that was dealing with a lot of suppressed emotion, I think, is probably the biggest result of all the sickness. But it got me to a place of where I just felt like I was in jail in my body. The last year I went to school in high school, I missed 111 days.
Wow.
Dropped out, got my GED, started college really young, and went to school for nutritional therapy. And I would tell those college students, or I don't care if you're 50 and you're like, I want to jump in, but I'm still figuring out, I mean, right? I don't know what the age of the Harry Potter woman was, but she was pretty old. Or KFC was like in his 60s, right? Whatever age that is. The first thing I would say to you is it does not matter as a my background will tell you, I can't say all of it right now because littles, but it doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing, what your age, what money's in your bank, what education you have, anything is possible. Everything to me is an identity based. So the minute you decide I'm going to move out of my identity, what I've known, come to be and do and think, and move into like, I sometimes will put on the pants of Oprah. I'm going to be this today, right? Like anything is possible. If you can get the cells of your body to believe it, you can achieve it. For me, my practice has always been sitting in stillness, silence, and solitude, going to what I would refer to as God. So plasma energy, science has proven it. It pays attention to you when you pay attention to it. And if you go and you conspire with this energetic force that exists between all of us and you say, hey, I would love your will to be done here, this or better. And then you allow your intuition, which is your GPS signal, and aligned action to follow. It's like you're unstoppable. I was just on stage to 1 million people in person. That's the entire city of Austin in one spot watching me live. And I went from 8 times speaking on stage to 1 million. Like, talk about a quantum leap / God leap.
Yeah.
And that's just because I kept meditating and going into a visional state where I was writing, practicing, speaking. This is who I be. This is who I'll be. This is what I'm going to become. And next thing you know, I'm on a plane getting a humanitarian award featured for Saints with 1 million people. And I do believe that co-creation is real. I'll land the plane at this. I believe that there's manifesting, which is capital M-A-N, is what God showed me in a vision. Manifesting. Now, often we get a Maserati instead of a Maserati because we're manifesting. But if we co-create with the divine's will, we go from 7 Airbnbs to building a mini city. And that's listening. That's patience. That's faith. That's the law of love and right action.
I love that. And I want to get into just a little bit of kind of how of a couple of things you mentioned. One, I'm in full agreement about the power of identity. Like everything we do, say, behaviors, actions, plans, like it flows out of our identity. And we actually have some agency with our identity and we have control. And how would you counsel someone on the formation of identity? Like how can we influence that? What do we do with that?
This is so good. Clothing seems silly, but 100%. The most times that you're actually going to make a deal, you're being seen. I would say like 99.9% of the time. If you're going to get a partner, a launch program, a business, a deal, whatever that might be, you're going to be seen, right? And so how you're seen, at least in the beginning, is really important. Now, most of my meetings I do in my pajamas on Zoom, but I feel like how you dress is how you present, and you'll notice the difference. I don't know if you've ever done this before, where you might go in your sweats to get a coffee and you'll talk a little bit different, right? You look up a little different, you're interactive different. But if you got a hat on, your slacks on, you walk in, your eyes are up, you're confident speaking, like if you just know that you're dressed right, you're going to show differently. It's your identity and how you're dressing. What is your house like? So when you close the door, no one can see you. This is so important. We've discovered this now scientifically, right? Most of what we say is not in our words. It's in our vibrational frequency. And if your home is not in order, so you got shit in your closet or stuff backed up or, dirty rooms, whatever that might be, you're not going to bed on time. You're not meaning what you say. You're not saying what you're going to do. You tell yourself you're going to go to the gym at 10, but you don't do it. You're now in dissonance. So no matter how you look, when you go out, you're carrying the energy of all the yeses you didn't keep for yourself, all the no's you didn't keep for yourself. The question I ask myself often is, what would someone who loved themselves do? She would go to bed earlier. She would get up earlier. She would have her ice bath. She'd have her sauna, right? So what you're doing in private is substantially important to what you're doing. All that time, it's like you're out of the house 20% of the time. So 80% of the time you're developing in private. Let that identity match who you're wanting to be when you go out.
Integrated life.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that I would say is really important outside of like journaling, writing, vision boards, speaking your words create your world. So really speak life into it. Maybe you're not there yet, but this is what I'm leaning into, right? So it's like I can say I'm practicing now. I'm becoming this now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, like, it strikes me the power that self-talk has. Because I think from one standpoint, it can feel silly. And, you know, from my own experience, like I can feel a little ridiculous of like trying to speak something into existence or over myself. I'm like, is this like a little self charade that I'm doing that no one else is watching? Like, what's happening here? But it actually works. You know, I was having a conversation the other day, and this is a kind of a tangentially related physical body phenomenon, but like when we are happy, we smile. Yeah. We can smile and like trigger happy chemicals to fire in our brains, like from a physical action on our face. Right. So I could be having the worst day ever, but if I'm like, or someone says maybe, Austin, smile. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. And I force out a smile, like things happen, you know? And I think the things we tell ourselves is similar. And I love the concept you painted of our physical and our proverbial house being in order. Yeah. Like my physical house, is it clean? You know, is it good design? My proverbial, like, am I a person of my word? Do I follow through? Like, do I treat myself well and, you know, go to sleep at a reasonable hour? I love that.
I want to add to it. I love this joy, joy, joy. Like to me, I walk in the room, people just flock to me anywhere I go. You give me 2 weeks in any country, anywhere in the world, and I'll come back with 100 people at main community because I unconditionally love them when I go out. I always ask God to take my body. And so if you ever come with me somewhere, it's like swirling energy, I think, because I'm co-creating that way. But I actually unconditionally love everyone all the time. Like, despite all of the things that may have even happened in the past, I still love you. Like, so when you come up to someone, you emanate, I love you, right? All of a sudden they're feeling, I love you. They feel this energy of like, I really like this person, and lean in. Constantly listening to podcasts. You've heard this before probably, right? Is if you want to learn Spanish, go to Spain and just completely immerse yourself. I'm in the shower, I'm in the bathroom, as I'm falling asleep. I have so much of my time in life is revolved around self-development. And then, so that helps you really in the identity, like study, read. I have like 50 books across my bed. My son can attest. And your community. Big one, you are the sum of your closest friends. I always say your friends are the signs pointing the direction of your future. And if you really can kind of cross over and look, okay, who are the sum of these people and how are my traits similar? But whoa. Now I've noticed as I've moved into the world of some of the most successful in the industry, I've noticed so many of my behaviors, mindset traits, and habits have blended towards what they're doing because you're going to magnetize towards that. So that'll really help.
So the other question I have, and in the context of counsel for a younger person, is how do you tap into that higher power? How do you hear from God? You know, because I think it's easy to be like, all right, sit in silence, like wait for lightning to strike. Like,
okay. I have a whole list of things that can help people connect to God. I think that, as I mentioned, I have a bit of a cheat sheet. I came in just hearing this divine counsel that has always been there. Oh my gosh, I have chocolate on my mouth. Hopefully I didn't have that there the whole time. Really, there's multiple ways that you can tune into the infinite field. First is you have to give your will. You have to say, okay, God, I give you my will. I give you my permission. And I thank you for coming through and speaking to me. Now you can create your own Morse code system with God, and eventually you'll get to the place where you don't need signs and symbols and have these things that have helped you, and God will guide you to that. That's not, in my personal experience, I kind of got kicked off the step stool. So you can ask for signs, symbols. You can I honestly, just God's love language is stillness, is time. And going into that nothingness, the stillness, and just saying, okay, I'm sitting with you, God, now. I want to give to you my mind, my thoughts, go into a deep meditative state. In between asleep and awake, God comes to me all the time. Last night, God came to me in my dreams. So if you ask as you're falling asleep, God, come to me in my dreams. I had 2 dreams last night because I was like, God, do you still love me? I'm just having I haven't heard you as much lately. Normally I hear God a lot. Like I will cry. When God hits my body, I almost can't breathe. And you know, my kids have seen me many times. They'll come in the kitchen. I'm on the floor just crying. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, God. And I had 2 dreams last night. In each dream, they were like opening a piece of paper and they're like, God really loves you. And I was like, okay, thanks. So in your dreams, through other people, you'll notice people will come up like, wow, God really loves you. Or you're supposed to go left. Did you know you left? Like you'll start hearing the confirmations through people, and that's God's way of speaking. God writing. You take your pen and paper, you ask God a question, and then you release and let God write down what you're hearing. It's another way to connect with God. Obviously, the most obvious is prayer, fasting, like those traditional methods of thank you, God, for entering in my body. Let me feel your love. I study scripture, but I study ancient text. I don't really actually resonate, this might get me burned, with the Bible as it's translated right now. When I first went to church, I heard God say, no, not real, Sarah. When you hear the pastor say, fear the Lord, I heard God say, not true. Look it up in Hebrew. So I went to Aramaic and Hebrew and started studying like a treasure hunt. Fear means reverence. So originally what God said was, you must have reverence for me, awe, wonder, respect. And when we co-create our reality, now we've created a reality of fear with God. So I don't have a religion. I'll go into little bits of churches, but my devotion with God is every night I'll read the Torah, I read Hebrew translation. I do read through scriptures and then I go find the Hebrew translation. And I give God my time, my attention every single day. I go into a state of prayer. Before I got on this, start talking, God, take my body. Thank you. Let this be your Godcast, not my podcast. And those practices on a daily help you to stay connected to the field, and then studying the truth of the word. Take your time and attention. I just watched again The Case for Christ. I have a deep, profound relationship. Everything in my house reflects to me that relationship.
Okay, the stonemason sent a PDF. The plumber wants a check. Wait, who is Dave on Venmo? Is that the woodworker or the tool rental? Oh my gosh. Stop playing forensic accountant with your own renovation. With Loyal, you get one consolidated invoice. We manage the vendors and the paperwork. One bill, zero confusion. Loyal Home Concierge.
So let it speak to you in that connection.
I admire that mentality, that orientation, and that just heart posture that you have. You mentioned a little earlier community. Be curious to paint us a picture of your community now, and who are some people, maybe currently or over the years, that have shaped you?
I also have community, and then I on this last one, I actually went blind in a freak accident. So your last question about God. I lost all taste, sight, and smell for a few weeks, and what was worse pain than natural childbirth with posterior babies. And I heard God say, I took your eyes so that you could see with my eyes. And I literally almost lost my mind. And I fell into this dark abyss for weeks. And just only thing I could hear was God, unraveling the stories that we tell ourselves and unraveling this idea. And there's 3 lessons that I'd like to share. The first lesson is I heard God say, there is no, and again, this might rough votes, good or bad. There just is. And the more that we put energy towards it, we feed it. And so you really want to keep your eyes towards the thing that you want to feed. That's what's going to grow. The second is that for humans, but especially women, it isn't in our doing, it's in our being. We give life, we can create life through sitting, through being, through holding, through waiting. And our humanity has gotten into rushing and into tech and into doing. And that actually distorts us away from God. We can't hear God as much. And the invitation of us is to rest in the movement. It's more about the beingness, not the doingness. And you'll just notice things start to conspire and work on your path. And you can feel God by slowing down. So that was kind of one of my other last lessons, is just slow down, move intentionally. My community and what has it taught me?
And then significant people in there.
Yeah. Okay. So some of my favorite in the A here, Casey Jackson. Love this man. He's a real estate, what I would say another real estate tycoon. You probably know him here in Austin. Loves God. David Osborne. David Osborne. Do you know who he is?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. He was one of kind of the OG, basically-ish founders of the Keller Williams of Austin chapter. And he does a lot of public speaking, really did it well. I think he owns more than 1,500 different real estate ventures in this moment. And private planes, got an established family man, brings his kids on the stage. He serves the community. He's on the board with me for our orphans. Has put tons of time and efforts. And for me, I look at the people who I really love, and these are people I talk to almost every day. I talked to Casey this morning. I talked to David last night. For me, the valuation of success is not money in the bank. It is, are you laughing uncontrollably at least a couple times a week? Are you skipping? Are you happy? Are you in love with your family? Do you wake up going, oh, thank God I got this, right? That to me is success. And these are people who do. So David is fun, alive, and Mike McCarthy and his wife are some of my other favorite humans who are in the real estate industry. Also, I don't know if you know Mike McCarthy. Okay, yeah. Real estate industry. Oh geez, I have to. David Buttress.
Oh yeah.
He's also man of faith. Gosh, I mean that guy's got what? How many commercial buildings with? I think he's like 180,000.
You would never know though.
You would never know. No, he's just chill, walks in the room, but that man has done it, and he's a man of faith, and he's really strong family qualities. So these are some of the people. Chris Beeman. Do you know Chris Beeman?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think that's how we met. Chris Beeman. So this is my community. I talked to Chris this morning, actually. Chris Beeman. So I feel like Mary Mendel. Do you know who Mary Mendel is?
Met her.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, this woman. So she's
Falling Leaves.
She's also the builder of my city.
No way.
Yeah, she's the woman behind it.
I didn't know y'all were working together.
Yeah, we're working together. She came on about 6-8 months after we started. Mary Mendel, if you guys don't know her, haven't heard of her, she was a VP of Disney. I don't know if he knows about her. Helped run top enterprises like Batman and a couple other projects. And then she's been featured in Architectural Digest and is on every project that I launch. It's Mary. I know, I'm like, gosh, I'm going to forget the most important people. Daniel Brown, Capital Investments, Brownstone Builders. I don't know if you know him.
Know the name.
Yep, talked to them this morning. I'm active in this group. So those are a couple, and I'm sure I'm going to pinch myself later at the ones that I'm missing. Yeah.
And what about, give us a picture of like a friend, a peer that you just delight in and they delight in you.
Okay, Gregory Porter is the founder of Eden. And I can't say too much about what Eden is because it's kind of a secret 500-acre development that's happening. Again, a strong man of faith, but we really love God and real estate and family. And he's just the friend that I talk to a couple times a week where we just like give our woes and what's happening and how to support each other because we do similar projects. And I have my girlfriends. Do I list those or just, I have a lot of sisters.
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot of sisters who I'm really, really close with in my life. Even my nanny who, Taylor, Jackie, Sam, I can't live without. Yeah. Jules Binti. Do you know her?
Met her.
Okay. Another really great girlfriend. Yeah.
I love thinking about just Gregory in your life. And I think this is an Austin phenomenon, but you both are doing very similar things. In most places in the West, like you would be perceived as competitors and probably not have a friendship.
Right.
And there would be a very clear wall of division. But there's something about this place, and I've experienced it in my entrepreneurial journey of like this rising tides mentality that lifts all ships. And there can be friendship, there can be support, there can be transparency. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I don't feel, I would agree. That's where I always put God first, profit second. And the people who are looking for sanctuary are not the people looking for Eden, in my opinion. Sanctuary is an incredible project, but it is, I can't say too much about Eden because I'm not allowed to share, but that's the exact, there you go. That should show you like Sanctuary is loud and proud and out there at PR and social networking and events. And, we really want to open it up to all walks of life and fields and religions and like bring it all together and love each other. Let's like all break bread and figure it out under one. So I don't think that it is a competition. And also I just trust that people will be guided towards their right home. And I don't want to, detour anybody to be in my home or my town or my area if that isn't what's highestly aligned for them. These projects are very far away from each other too. Yeah. So it helps. But I also wouldn't mind supporting other developments. I think that is the Austin benefit.
Yeah. And I think, I'm hearing an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. And it's easy, speaking for myself, it's easy to sometimes slip into a scarcity mindset, particularly in times of insecurity or self-doubt. But I think if we are always striving for an abundance mindset, results happen. And richness is able to be experienced that maybe was not accessible, and like surprises happen and blessings happen. And so I love that, articulation, demonstration of that.
I think that's that karma. You're in abundance. If you're in giving, I always say, like, if you want something, go give it. And then you become the magnetic attractor of it, which could also be considered a manifestation. Yeah.
So on the note of important people in your life, you have one here with you today.
I do.
Do you want to come up and join us?
I know the minute you ask me that question, my whole body's like, oh my God, I feel like my mom, my dad. I feel like I should give the whole list. Anna Bropri is amazing. She owns Silva Clinic in town. But these guys, we have a littler one that's not here right now, are probably the most important of the most important.
So would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Atlas, and I'm 10 years old, and I like Pokemon.
Okay. Right on. Well, Atlas, it's great to have you. I loved it. We've been talking a lot about your mom today. Tell us who your mom is to you.
She's the person I look up to, and
No, it's okay. I can help you out here. Maybe what are some things that really help you look up to her that you really like about her?
that she's building lots of cities, and that she's making lots of things for and doing good stuff for other people and stuff like that.
Well, that's a great role model to have. Tell me, what's a hobby that you have right now, or something you really like to do that you're just super into right now?
Pokemon.
Okay. Tell people that maybe are not familiar with Pokemon. What is Pokemon?
Pokemon is like little mini monsters that I guess you would call them monsters that there's cards, there's games, there's lots of stuff you can do with them. And you can trade them with people, and you can battle with your cards, and in the games you can also defeat like bosses and earn badges and stuff.
Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Rayquaza.
Okay. Who is Rayquaza?
A big lizard draggy.
Okay.
If I might, can I jump in?
You may.
Atlas just enrolled in something called Thrivable. If you guys have not heard of that yet, it's an incredible program led by Laura Daly, who's also in
And say the name one more time.
Thrivable.
Thrivable.
And Laura Daly is a young 20-year-old with tenacity who is leading the way for our children's education. We are a homeschool family, and they are now enrolled in Thrivable. And so Atlas just attended this mastermind. It's like Tony Robbins for kids.
Wow.
And he's been really exposed, even private playing with David Osborne and around this industry, building in real estate. And I think it'd be really cool if you shared with other kids, like, what are some takeaways you feel like being around city officials and in these meetings and homeschool or real estate, building sanctuaries, anything you would share with other kids, or hopes or dreams?
Don't give up, I guess. Chase your dreams.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might be better at question asking than I am.
No, that's great.
Great
advice.
answer, yeah.
You're visualizing the Serengeti sunset. You are not visualizing the 3-hour hold time to change your flight connection in Cape Town. Did you know Loyal does that too? From fixing the faucet to planning your family's African safari, we handle the logistics so you can handle the adventure.
Wow.
Loyal Home Concierge, your passport to peace of mind.
Well, let me ask a question, and then I'll direct this at you, Sarah, and we'd love your feedback on it too, Atlas. Talk about the home environment you've created. What does home mean to you, look like for you?
What do we do once a week?
A family meeting.
You're going to eye contact. There we go. Right
Ooh,
there. Yeah.
Family meeting. What is that? Tell me about that.
It's like where the whole family gathers up and talks about the stuff from the past weekend, and then and we say like, what can we do next week, and what are your main goals, and what could you change that if you could change anything.
Wow. These are some powerful things to be talking about. Are there any goals that you have right now that you want to share with us?
No.
Man,
He has a really big goal coming up. It's the biggest trip. They've been all over. We've studied abroad and we've lived abroad, going from country to country. But he's been asking for one big thing, and that's kind of our big year like changer. And that is what? Tokyo. We're going to Tokyo.
so cool.
Yeah. So we're planning that one out. And Atlas, and they just started Spanish. They do extracurricular activities. They get to go in city meetings and things like that where they're learning. They're a part of, on the way here, he was a part of the meeting where we're discussing the build out of our family club. So we're building family clubs. To me, if the kids aren't helping to lead the way, I don't want a part of it. I lost so much of my time with my kids building in the past, and I just made the promise with this next development company and the family clubs that the kids would be a part of the conversation. And so they know now if I'm speaking on stage, they can come right up and speak with me on stage. Or if there's a meeting, they can come in and they can ask some questions or be part of it. Or like today's interview. It's important. They're our retirement. Like when we want to rest, they're going to be the ones leading the charge on how our world is built. And if we don't start bringing them into our conversations and letting them be a part of it, we're in trouble later.
Yeah.
So in that context, anything like outside of learning Spanish, going to Japan, he did launch his own product. Can you tell him about that? Cool.
I did.
Kitty.
Oh yeah, Kitty is lemonade that what is it? 25%?
50% of the proceeds.
Percent of the money we make goes to orphans in Nepal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's been a part of the movement. They've been selling lemonade stands, and he takes 50% of the proceeds that he makes every time, and he sends them to the 9 orphanages that we represent. But he developed the whole label and the concept and the recipes of organic materials, and we were getting a couple other parents involved to help launch. And It's Skinny, I don't know if you know that brand, Brian, said he would help us get in the store. We've kind of put it out the holiday season, but yeah.
And is there a place people can find it now, or is it kind of waiting until down the road? All right. Keep a lookout for Kid Aid. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Kool-Aid. Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, I love your encouragement or just how you talked about family meetings. I think if every family, let's just take the city of Austin, did that, imagine what our city would be like. In my work, we care a lot about people's family rhythms and their home environment. So it's so cool to hear about the intentionality that you guys are practicing in your home.
Yeah, we've got a couple. We got the big ass calendar.
Tell people what that is.
Jesse Itzler's.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Jesse! You can just fall on Jesse Itzler's page and YouTube and listen for days, and it'll change your life. Sarah Blakely have been my mentors for many years. So we have a big calendar, and then we've got the big book, and then we've got the whiteboards on the refrigerator, and the kids did their word of the year, and then they have every day mapped out. So they wrote down every week, what's the family meeting where we go over wins, what we could do better, what are the goals, what is the word of the day. So we've gotten much more into structure, routine, and that's really helped. So right when you walk in, you've got it, you can see it, and you're planning out. And it has one big goal of the year, and then 6 mini adventures, and then what are the 4 habits you're going to have this year. So we've done things like, what are some new habits? Can you think of any? He stayed the night at Daddy's house last night and said he stayed up too late. Chewing with their mouth closed is an example. You know, how are we saying yes, ma'am? Are we please and thank you? So once you put those goals on the whiteboard, there's 4 ways that can help you memorize things, and this is what we work with the kids. One is humming after you learn something. 45 seconds.
So that's after you hear something.
Yep, that you want to learn. They do meditate too, so they do meditation. But 45 seconds of humming, and then writing it down in capital. That's another way you can help memorize something. And so then when you're you go to do the habit, you'll see in your brain. Those are some ways that you can memorize. What is the last one? Do you remember?
Saying it like 10 times in a row.
While you squeeze your...
Hand?
Yeah, he squeezed. So we squeezed the finger. Clearly, you remember that. Oh, yeah, squeeze it 10 times. Just some fun ways for as adults as we help to try to memorize things. And that's when we're building the new habits.
Well, I think also, testament to the whiteboards and the calendars is seeing things frequently, like writing something, declaring it, and then seeing it all the time. Like that works so powerfully for me with my goals, like see it again, again, and again, because we can be so forgetful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to go back to something that you mentioned a little earlier or alluded to. And let me pose this as a question, and you can chime in, Atlas, on this if you want as well. How do we create homes and culture and lives that future generations will be proud of and will benefit from? I mean, future generations, we got one right here.
Did you hit the goal? Oh, you're adorable. I know you have it when you tune in. I'll start for Atlas, but what's really important when in your house? What would you love to see included in all homes?
A pool and a hot tub.
Good call. Fully endorse that.
Yeah, lots of like nature. Like it could be like maybe like one of the walls is like covered in like moss, but
Cool.
like moss. I don't know.
Great ideas.
Yeah.
I love that.
Lots of lights.
Lots of light.
Yeah.
You stole my ideas.
Very good answers.
Good water systems. So we have special filter water systems.
Yes.
Lots of natural light. Actually, LED lights aren't good for us. Those are a couple other things. Not using paints or things that would put off any chemicals. And at night, we shut off our Wi-Fi. So it's like, what can you start doing now, even if you can't move? It's definitely getting more sunlight all the time and shutting off the Wi-Fi at night helps.
Question, actually diving into little technical details on houses, something I've wondered about. So talking to different builders, some builders are very intent on creating a sealed envelope of the home, like no air gets in or out. And then other homes, and a lot of homes, people talk about like leaky homes or like is there one that's better than the other?
My personal feeling is a house that breathes. One of the biggest reasons that we're getting mold now is because we've created sealed tight houses and there's no airflow. And so my personal preference is towards a house that gets more airflow. Yeah, I think your air quality, having lots of natural plants like you do that help clean up the air. We're always getting chemicals no matter where you're at, but it's just minimizing those chemicals that we're getting in.
Yeah. Okay, so in this talk of future generations, Atlas, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Like my mom.
I love that.
I never asked this.
I love
Never heard
that.
anybody ask. Gonna get ice cream after this.
And then you've got another sibling, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about your sibling.
What is his name?
Orion Blue. I don't really know what he likes.
Well,
What
maybe,
is he like?
or what do you love about him? What's your favorite thing about him?
He's really funny, and sometimes his laugh is like it's a big giggle, and it's super funny. He's a good person to play games with, and
Kicks her butt at chess.
Wow.
and he has a pretty good memory, and he always beats us in memory game.
Sports? They 4-year sports?
Yeah.
Those are some awesome things.
You answered great. You're great.
You actually reminded me of my siblings. So I have a brother and a sister, and my sister has a great laugh. And anytime she laughs, I laugh. And my brother, ever since he was a baby or really like a toddler, before he could even talk, he was good at the memory game. And he would beat us. We're like, how is this happening? How does this little toddler have this ability to beat us? We were like, whoa. So you reminded me of my siblings.
So special. They're completely, from the minute they were born, are absolutely so different. Atlas is a comedian that will get us laughing like no other. And Orion is very empathetic. He's very in tune and quite the healer. So it's super fun raising boys that are so different and so alike. And the Orions, I think, won 8 championships in baseball now.
Wow.
They do surf camp, and they're very adventurous, jump off the biggest rocks. Super into that stuff.
I love that. Well, let me ask a fun question for both of you. Atlas, maybe you can start. If you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
Probably a sea otter.
Okay. I know someone who would really like that answer. Why would you be a sea otter?
Because they're like my favorite animal, and it would be really cool to like go across the water and the ocean.
I agree.
They're just cool.
And they seem to have like the most fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, no, a quokka. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, I don't know that animal. What is that animal?
The most happiest animal. Oh, that's right. We'll look at that in the whole world.
Huh. What is it? Does it like walk around on 4 legs, or what? Describe it.
I think it walks around on 2 legs, but it has 4 as arms, and it doesn't stop smiling.
Wow.
It's pretty cute.
I'm going to have to look this up after this conversation.
Atlas loves watching funnies. That's kind of her nightly. So every night we have a routine. We go over again. What was your 3 wins? Anything you could do better? We have our prayer. But part of it is also watching funnies. He's really into funny. Just bringing it like the Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah. Would you be an animal? What animal would you be?
Black Panther, for sure.
Okay. Chic.
And I'm super loving, but inside I've got the spirit of might that's strong and very like motherly, protective, and will go into places most people I know won't go into. It's still very like, I'm a hunter driven.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to know if you can. Any of the last things you want to say?
No.
Well, I wanted to turn that to both of you. I'd love to hear anything that you want to leave us with as we start to wind down. Maybe projects you're fundraising for now, things you're excited about, encouragement to listeners.
Yeah. Okay. So Instagram is, if they're going anywhere, that's the place to follow the projects. Sara D. Morell, which I'm sure you're going to lead. I bought a bunch of buildings that I have family clubs that I'm opening up, which the kids are helping to develop. And I am fundraising for that.
Will that be local?
It's in downtown Round Rock, the first flagship location. The second is inside a sanctuary. And think wellness cafe downstairs, biohacking technologies in the other room. We're going to have the table to farm, farm to table, food, organic, gluten-free, ice bath, sauna, those kind of things all set up on ground. Most of these exist, but they're not family oriented. And I just got so frustrated as a single mom. Like, even if you go to Soho House, you can kind of have the kids out there, but it's really more about adults. And I don't want to go to any party, hang out anywhere unless there's some kids around because I have so much more fun. So I kind of just solved the problem and created it. So people feel like it's in their passion, their wheelhouse to get families together, want to invest in clubs. The second one is I just launched a development company. We just launched our first pitch for $25 million, got our first 2, so we're doing great already.
Congrats on that.
We are building more soulful communities that are eco-luxe, self-sustaining, but more accessible. So 15 houses right here in Austin, creating like a best friend row experience where their houses aren't typically as integrated as we will have them. So I think those are, if somebody's looking to collaborate or build more developments with an epic, cool team where it's experiential. The one big upscale is a castle project outside of London that we are working on opening up a longevity clinic. So that's kind of the bigger version once we get through with this wellness club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exciting projects in the works.
I would just say is like, you can't go yet, you're almost done. The last, like, to the world piece of advice that I'd love to give is to just trust and go bigger, have more fun. And again, I think the more you're childlike and you can bring the kids into the conversation, it's no moments wasted. Like, it doesn't matter. Most of the things I'm doing right now, it doesn't matter if I actually succeed because I had so much fun doing it. Like, I wouldn't take any of it back. My business partners in London with the castle, I don't care where I get the castle because I have so much fun with their family as we build it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Wonderful encouragement. Well, thank you, Sara. Thank you, Atlas. So great being with you both today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Austin Community Capital. This show is a celebration of the spirit of Austin, Texas, honoring our past, engaging our present, and building our future together. If this conversation sparked something in you, a new idea, a feeling of connection, or just a good laugh, pass it on. Share this episode with a fellow Austinite or a loved one who needs to hear it. Let's keep weaving this fabric of community together. This show is proudly presented by Loyal Home Concierge. At Loyal, we believe that a healthy, thriving city starts within the four walls of your home. We are passionate about supporting overextended executives, the moms and dads who do it all, and the couples who take life by storm. Because we know that when your home life is supported, you are free to support the ones who matter most.
Your kids, your wife.
Whether you need a proactive manager for your home or a creative problem solver for your next big adventure, we are here to help you design a life of intention. LoyalHomeConcierge.com. Let's make life a little more beautiful together. Stay loyal to your community, and we'll see you next time.